What's up, wrestling fans? My name is Aaliyah Valencia, and this is part one of my sit down with professional wrestler Paige Collett, also known as Black Dahlia, as she talks about her wrestling with CRPS and how faith has helped her with her journey. You battle with CRPS, and how you still are wrestling, and that meant a lot to me because I have lupus. So it's just like,
I'm sorry for your pain.
thank you. So it's just like, okay, she's still doing that, which is amazing because I wanted to wrestle, but it's just too much in my body.
Which is
So
valid.
yeah,
Which is
it's a
valid.
lot. And then
Yeah,
I
you're
saw that you
being,
post about Christianity and faith and how that's helped you. And I'm
yeah.
Christian, so that just really excited me so I can speak to you about that.
I really believed my life was for God at first. Like before I got involved with wrestling, I was actually going to be dedicating myself to the church. And as odd as it is now that I'm a grown woman and I'm doing these very louder than life adult wrestling characters, my whole start was with religion before wrestling, and I was going to be a nun. I looked
Wow.
Yeah, this shocks some people, but the ones that know me. And
Mhm.
I was, when I got involved with wrestling, I was homeless. I was that 18-year-old kid that had nothing. And I was in the Appalachian Mountains, and I remember vividly helping tear down and set up wrestling rings out in the hot sun,
Wow.
and humidity, and I still had my purity ring on. So that
Mhm.
was how, like, raw and real my wrestling story, how it began was,
Mhm.
okay, as cliche as it was, it's like, do you want to be a nun or do you want to be a wrestler?
Mhm.
And becoming a professional wrestler, I started right there in, like, the realm of the carnies. I was around people that spoke carny, and
Mhm.
I stuck out like a sore thumb. I definitely was made to be the outcast because I took theater classes. I had gotten accepted in the New York Film Academy. So I had my theater background and I had my athletic background.
Mhm.
So to some wrestlers that were in the old school manner, they had to not just humble me, but they wanted to check me and wanted me out of the business because I was the actor, I was the model getting involved. So, and this was just in the Appalachian Mountains at first. So I knew no better. I knew nothing about the business. When I was approached with a job, I wasn't a wrestler at first. I was
Mhm.
just a manager. I was just a valet. And when I was approached and scouted, when the woman told me about the position, it was as a valet. I never heard of this before. So I was like, parking vehicles, like the people that
Mhm.
park vehicles. I didn't understand that meant, like, as a manager in wrestling. I thought it was people that parked vehicles, a valet.
Right.
So that's how green and ignorant I was to the business. So religion definitely did have a play in it from the beginning, but then when I got injured and got sick and was put in the wheelchair, and it wasn't just living life in a wheelchair, it was living life with my disease undiagnosed. So I went 7 years undiagnosed. So during that dark time and my body being consumed with my disease, I was very alone. So I didn't believe in God anymore, and I ended up refinding God through the pain and through my belief that God didn't exist anymore. So that was a full circle moment for sure. Like, uh,
Wow.
getting out of that wheelchair, finding God, and finding the ring again.
Wow. See, that I love that because I feel like God will use certain situations to bring you closer to him. I know like with lupus, that's how I've like really just locked in, with like Christianity and stuff like that because it's hard dealing with like an illness every day and it's like your body's
It
fighting
makes you
against you.
question things, like whether it's you with your lupus, me with my CRPS, or even Bear can probably attest with his heart conditions. Like, you,
Mhm.
it will make or break you being sick. And you can either make it hard, it can make you bitter, or you can become the best person ever. And I know with Bear is one of the kindest souls I've ever come across, and he has every reason to question God. He has every reason to be bitter, to be like a jerk, and he's not. So I think that's beautiful. But I try to be that way. I try to um, show kindness because that's what we all want. We want kindness, and
Right.
to have my life taken from me and be robbed of so much living, like all my 20s, like when
Hmm.
I went out to LA and trained with Rikishi, like when I was out there, I was just a kid, and then to be put in a wheelchair and then to be robbed of living, and that's full circle now. Like how you became introduced to me was that article about me expressing, hey, I'm finally getting to live, I'm finally getting to be
Hmm.
experience. So, so yeah, that's what brought us together is me finally finding my voice. Yes, I am now back in this business that made me sick, but I'm reclaiming my life. I'm reclaiming my career that was robbed of me, and I'm also reclaiming my womanhood. I didn't get to be like the other girls that went to college or even went to wrestling. Wrestling school is
Hmm.
my college, so every girl, every guy my age, they got to go to college. They got to have careers. They got to go and be mommies and daddies. They got to go and be husbands and wives and get married, get divorced again, and get married again. In the past,
Hmm.
like this spring will make 9 years since my accident. So that's like a decade of living, and I didn't get to experience that. So it was more so not just being trapped in the wheelchair, but being consumed by my disease. Like I said, I
Hmm.
was that whole time undiagnosed, and I was a prisoner in my own body. So now that I get to try to be a wrestler again and have a second chance at living, I get to live and
Hmm.
have my bucket list.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Like you had that mentality, like, you know what, no matter what, I'm just gonna strive and push ahead anyway, regardless of what's happening.
Yeah, well,
Um,
it didn't come easy. Like I really had to train my mind, body, and soul, and I still struggle with that to this day. You have to be the light to find
yeah,
the light.
that's very true. How do you like stay on course mentally, like dealing with this and wrestling?
Hmm. Well, wrestling breeds paranoia, and in any form of entertainment world, it can be very toxic. You got the good and the bad, and on top of the paranoia, the imposter syndrome
Hmm.
definitely is a thing that I struggle with
Hmm.
because I'm the girl that got put in the wheelchair and I'm in a sick body. Like I didn't get to have a career, so I always question myself every single day, but it's for that girl in the wheelchair. So it's like, oh yeah, I belong.
Hmm.
It's God did this. This is
Hmm.
God's timing, not my timing. I wanted this back when I was at Knox Pro. I wanted this then. God said now. So whenever you have those imposter syndromes and self-doubt, because I have that, it's only natural. No
Yeah.
matter where I get, you always will have these thoughts, and the way you combat that is not just putting glory towards God and realizing that it's all His plan, and how peaceful is that to know that there's a plan.
Yeah.
So have that help your mental health, but also look how far you've came.
Hmm.
So I look back at that girl in the wheelchair. I look back at that girl that was trapped because when I left LA, when I left Knox Pro, I was at my parents' summer house here in Ohio, and it was just a cabin next to the lake. I
Hmm.
literally had no internet, no phone service. I had no television, and dealing with my sickness and not having what I have now is medical marijuana. But even back then, I still haven't touched pain pills. I was never offered any proper treatments to combat my sickness. So I
Hmm.
know I was quite literally organically battling the most painful pain known to man, and it was spreading. And it's nicknamed the suicide disease for a reason. So
Hmm.
if this wasn't going to give me a heart attack or go into my organs or whatever was going to happen,
Hmm.
it's a suicide disease. And I was abandoned in a wheelchair by the medical community and gaslit by the medical community, and not
Hmm.
just as a human, but as a woman. They did not believe me. They did not believe my
Hmm.
pain. and it turns out to be the most painful pain known to man. So being left in that wheelchair, and that, it was so dark. So it's for that girl that survived. She survived. She lost 130 pounds. She got back in that wrestling ring. She's defying the odds. She's the one that the doctors called 1 in a million, not me. It's for her. So I'm gonna make sure she gets everything that she deserves, you know? So that's
Yeah.
where you find the positivity, is from within, for sure.
So you think, which is amazing to hear. So over the years, like you've gained like this not only mental strength but emotional strength to like push through. When you think about like your past, like, hey, this is where I was, but because of that woman, I'm going to be everything that she wanted to be.
Yeah, my that I fell in love with wrestling. I fell in love with the sport, and even though
Hmm.
wrestling never owes us anything, how dare something I fell in love with take my life, take my body, take my soul, took everything from me. Like I said, I didn't get to go and play and laugh and explore, you know? I have my bucket list that people like to screen grab and make jokes about, but I'm a very much living, breathing human being that just fell in love with the sport, and the sport killed me. So so I don't want that to be the end of the story. I got out of that wheelchair before my diagnosis. I lost the at least 100 plus pounds before the diagnosis. Now I'm at 130 down. I did all this before I knew how dark it was,
Hmm.
and it was my will for to you could call it my ego, my pride.
Hmm.
I sacrificed everything for wrestling. I did everything you were supposed to do by the book. I didn't play the politics. I didn't go and lie and manipulate and scheme. I didn't sleep with the boys. I didn't do all the games. I worked my ass off to become a professional wrestler. I slept in my vehicle and worked at a Walmart out there in LA. I fucking was there scrubbing the toilets. I did everything you were supposed to do with a smile on my face and never once complaining, because I knew my place and I knew that you had to pay your dues. And I showed my respect to this business just to be put in a wheelchair, just to get fat as fuck and have to leave LA and go to Ohio. Nah, no, that's not the end of my story. So I fought and I crawled and I fought so hard for this just to get diagnosed with CRPS. It turns out you've been slowly deteriorating and dying this whole time. No, 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 I won't die. I'm gonna survive. I'm gonna get as healthy as possible, and I'm gonna wrestle. So that's that's my truth. That's my story. That's the screen grab for the tabloids. That's my truth. And that's why they're writing a book about this now, babe. That's why we're doing a documentary about this. This story needs to be told because others need to hear it, whether it's to give them hope, whether it's to inspire them or to entertain them. But the story is so raw and real, and I'm happy I get to share it right now, guys.
I love that you're using your platform to speak about this because a lot of people don't understand that people with autoimmune diseases, it is rough.
Oh,
It's not easy.
please don't get it because there's no yes or no
Mine
answer.
yours. She got lucky foot in her hand, in her pocket or something.
It's
Sorry, I'm on the live right
yes and
now.
no. It's wrong and right. The amount of pain will be okay now, and then I'm passed out next.
Like in 5 hours.
And people don't get it because I
No,
don't
yeah.
want to be pitied and babied, but then also I want my disease to be understood and respected, but then I also want to be treated like a normal human being. So
Right.
I
Hmm.
want to be participating. I want to be doing this stuff, but then just because today I can take a bump doesn't mean tomorrow I can.
Hmm.
Or
It's a day
today
by
I'll
day
be
thing.
or today I'll be able to take 3 bumps, and then tomorrow I won't be able to get out of bed or something. There there's different ways I handle my sickness and accommodate it, but I would rather be in pain in that ring performing than being in pain in a wheelchair. Like I
Hmm.
choose this. I want this. I fought for this, and I'm building a callus in a sense, and that's so poorly put, but I'm building a
No, it's
callus in a
not.
sense to endure this so
Hmm.
I can have a match. I want
Hmm.
a match. And I feel like where I taught myself how to walk again and endured, I could teach myself how to wrestle again and do it.
That's so amazing. Like that's really inspiring because
It's
it's
so
just like you push.
silly because it
It's
is. And it's my
not.
life. It's like, what? And it's like,
It's
I'm not even
not.
trying to be inspiring. I'm just trying to fucking do it. I'm trying to live. I'm trying to accomplish this. And I'll be damned if I don't get to do this, you know?
It's true. Think about like you may have like younger girls who may see you on social media, who may see your matches, and they're just like, and they see your story, and they might go through it even young, because we all know sometimes younger girls are getting diagnosed with autoimmune diseases more and more. So
It's
they
so
may want to wrestle, and they see you, and they're like, hey, I can do it too. If
yeah.
Dahlia's doing it, I can do it. That's for sure.
I don't want our sicknesses need to be studied and respected and accommodated because we are
Mhm.
very much sick, but we need to live in a world that accommodates us.
Yeah.
But we are so beyond our sickness and we need to live. We need to fight. And I'm not saying some are weak or anything. I'm not saying that, but
Yeah.
I'm saying just live. We can live.
Exactly.
Find ways to live and fight back because this is
Hmm.
our chance, our flesh, our opportunity at this life. And you're
Yeah.
either going to be miserable with it, or we can find ways to not be miserable with it.
Very true. Very true. You're right. Because if you sit in that misery, then you're always going to be like, well, if I didn't have this sickness, if it held me back, and then you'll spiral downward. So you have to like,
I have a very I have this theory that's very debatable, and who knows? Who knows? I've discussed it with my doctor, and I go back and forth with my mental health on saying I wish I would have been diagnosed immediately. Maybe we could have contained the disease before it spread.
mhm.
I wish I would have been diagnosed sooner, yada, yada, yada. How would my life be different? And mm, would I have gotten out of that wheelchair if I was diagnosed? Because
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
didn't get diagnosed until after the work. I put
Hmm.
in the work. I was abandoned by the medical community and had to go relearn how to walk again in a Planet Fitness. I had no pain pills. We already know that, but I had no rehab facility that helped me. No nurses held me up and helped me. I did this in a Planet Fitness with
Wow.
no assistance. I taught myself how to walk again and I filmed it because I knew no one would believe this. I didn't know what was going on. I just knew I was a wrestler that got put in a wheelchair and now I'm crippled. I didn't know it was a disease. But I bit down and I learned how to walk again because I did that shit.
Hmm.
And I, oh, my brain fogs. Shit, my brain
No, it's
fogs.
okay. I understand.
Yeah, I don't, how do I say it? I don't know. I had so many points. CRPS sucks,
It
but
happens to me all the time. I'm like, what was I saying?
it was, see, there it is. It was the theory of if I had gotten diagnosed sooner,
Mhm.
would I have had the placebo effect? I didn't, it
Mm.
was a really horrible placebo effect. It was,
Wow.
I didn't know this was the most painful pain that I was facing. I just knew it was the most, I didn't know it was the most painful pain in the world. I just knew it was the most painful pain I had tasted.
Hmm.
I was like, damn, this sucks. The doctors say this isn't bad. It's pretty fucking bad. It's
Yeah.
really bad over here.
Hmm.
So I was in my own head and I fought and I endured and I succeeded. So the theory in my mind is like, would I have been able to have gotten out of the wheelchair if I had known what I was feeling? Would I
Hmm.
have just come and started taking opioids?
Hmm.
Like, what if I had known what I was facing? Because now we're going on 9 years, but when I was diagnosed at the 7 year mark,
Hmm.
when I was offered those pain pills, we were at the 7-year mark. I was like, no, I've gone so long. No, thank you. I'm realistic. My body's sick. Could I endure a whole gruesome WWE schedule? Probably not. Like, but if I can get my body into remission and get healthy enough, in theory, I could have a job as a manager. You know, I could go on to, like, I'm blessed enough to have a job with JCW, you know, and this is a beautiful opportunity. And then take this and run with it and then go beyond it. And whether it's like something as cool as like AEW, WWE, like be a female Paul Heyman, you know, make history, you know, like it's, there's no shame in having a manager role, but I truly am a professional wrestler and I do want a match. I do want that. So even if I don't get to have a career, like a full career at the end of the story, I would like one match, and I think that might happen this year, babe.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah,
that's exciting. The matches. So, I saw you take a few bumps and how they help you.
My doctor, she knows I'm training. She knows I'm weight training and training behind the scenes for my match. But they don't understand wrestling, and they don't understand my drive and my love for it. All they understand is this is going to be painful. So it is what it is. But I'm in my limits, and it's like, so just like the learning how to walk again and building a callus, I'm learning how to wrestle again, and I'm building a callus, and my body this time last year, let's say I could only try to do one bump. Well, now you see what I'm able to do, and I'm able to do more. So it's a lot with my sickness, but then again, it's like a different momentum with that, if that makes sense. So
no, 100%. So when you get through a match, or let me take a bump and you take one bump, does that feel like a big accomplishment to you?
for sure. Oh, so people, this is where it comes, and you'll understand this as one of the sick.
Yeah.
But it's like, yes, this is painful, but what a beautiful accomplishment. We know our accomplishments, and it's so thrilling. So even though we are in pain, I am ear to ear grinning after these bumps, going, "Yay! That shit,
I did it, and you did what you love."
But then everyone's confused, and they're like, "But your pain," and then it's supposed to be escalated. I'm confused, and it's like, what is there to be confused? I'm not in a wheelchair right now. This is awesome.
Right? No, you're right.
So you get that.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to let the world understand that, because I want them to respect my sickness, understand my sickness, take it seriously. Let's find a cure. Let's fund these organizations, but then also don't discriminate and don't question the sick. Like, because we don't have to prove that we're sick, you know?
100%, because you know,
if it hurts that bad, and it's like, no, I'm living my dream right now, guys. I have a smile on my face, but I mean, this hurts. But then it's like, but then you shouldn't be doing this. No,
you can still do it, right?
I'm fucking enduring, and this was an accomplishment, and there's so much more beyond. Let's not stop this, and inspiring people. You know, like I have you reaching out to me, but then and Bear, but that with your guys' health conditions, but also, I mean, someone with a brain tumor, like she reached out to me, and my story gave her hope. You know, I have this other woman with breast cancer that reached out. I have this man with CRPS, and then I have this other gentleman who lost their mom. Their mom had it for like 14 years and unfortunately passed away because of their health. And I have these people reaching out, and it's like they're seeing this. They get to see this. So there is a bigger purpose beyond these bumps. With each bump, there's such a beautiful purpose.
It is. Now, the thing that had caught my attention, I went to your Instagram page, and I was just like, I can't wait to talk to her.
Okay, what?
The thing that caught my attention, and it really made me excited, and I was like, I can't wait to talk to you, when I went on your Instagram page, I was scrolling just to look at like your matches and what you was talking about, and I ran across this video, and it was about from The Chosen, and it was about Jesus and James, and he was saying, "Well, why can't you heal me?" And he was like, "I can heal a lot of other people, but I can use you to tell the story." And I was like, it's so funny because I just watched that video a week ago before. I was like, that is so wild that I just saw that. And you remind me of exactly what you posted. Why can't you heal me? Yeah. Why can't you heal me? It's just like, no, but imagine a story and the people that you could save from your story.
Yeah.
You know? And I was like, I love that.
No, that's so deep because, oh my gosh, if you only knew the rest of my story, like there's so many details, babe. Because like I have coded, I have passed, I have seen some things, and there is a God, and there is life beyond this. And it's odd to say right now, but it's like I kind of already knew my purpose before this all happened. And it's like I knew I was gonna have an accident. And I like in my book, okay, I'll point this out because it's so spiritual and it's so magical and amazing, and it sucks that I've had to live it, but you know, I want when people read my book, Wrestling with CRPS, chapter 1 really is so I had the Iggy that I had CRPS. I got the Iggy and I was about to be diagnosed legally, whatever. And so in the open, you will be in bed with me, consumed with the disease. I want you guys to feel it and taste it and experience it as you read my life story, and I feel like I do accomplish that. And the way I am wording it is you're in bed with me, you're consumed with the fire and the agony, and then the mental anguish of you want to be diagnosed finally. You just you need that validation. You need your insanity to end, but then does it end? Because holy shit, like, are we going to get diagnosed with this? Is this real life? You know? So it's like you're dealing with that and you're being washed upon with like a wave of a pain as you're like trying to sleep, and you know being chronically ill, you never sleep. So no medical marijuana, nothing, just raw dogging this. And then see, my story is about death, and I don't want that to be the end of my book. I don't want that to be the end of my story. So I'm making it more about life. But through my book, it is about my death experiences. When I did code, when I did pass, when I did come back, and I've experienced death multiple times in my life before CRPS. And as I'm experiencing death, and you're about to be diagnosed with me, and it's the night before my doctor's appointment of the eve of my diagnosis. You're in bed with me, and then you get tugged on, and next to know you're in the ocean with me at the age 7, and you're drowning and you're experiencing death for the first time. And I really at the age of 7 I should have died in the ocean, and if it wasn't for my godfather, I wouldn't be here today. And the way that it circles back to spirituality is I've always heard this voice when death has been upon me, when I've experienced death, and there was always this lady's voice, this woman, she's come to me in these crucial moments. And when I was drowning and experiencing death for the first time, and I was being ripped out, the riptide was taking me out, and I had just a boogie board on me. I remember as a child, oh gosh, you're gonna die. Like the reality, the innocence just burst. first time, death, oh my gosh, dying, like that's so scary. And you're crying and screaming. I'm just like an innocent little baby, and it's like tasting death was so bad to feel at such a young age. And seeing my mom and godmother drop everything and try to swim to me, and then the currents taking them away, and I'm getting dragged out in the ocean. And then seeing the men, there was like fishermen on the shore, they tried to swim to me, and then seeing them give up, seeing men give up on me, a child, and knowing that they can't save my life, and I'm just getting ripped and pulled out, and I'm still drowning in the process of drowning. And I saw adults give up, and that really scared me as a child. And I'm just like, I'm dying, and I'm going to die. And it was just, again, no child should ever feel that. And I just remember, okay, I got to fight for my life, and I got to save myself because the adults can't get to me. And I'm like, everyone looked like ants at that point. Like, I was deep. I was really taken out into the ocean, and no one could get to me, and no one could save me. So I was like, I got to save myself. So I had my boogie board, and I was about to pitch it and swim for my life. And in that moment, a millisecond, I swear on everything, I promise to God on everything, a woman's voice came to me. And as I'm letting go of my boogie board, I thought it was my mom, but then I noticed, no, my mom's screaming on the shore, and they have muffled voices. I can't hear anyone on shore, and I'm actively drowning, in and out of water. I can't hear the people on the shoreline. This woman's voice was right here, clear as day, like inside me. And she said, don't let go. Whatever you do, do not let go. And I just was like, what the fuck? I was like, oh my God. So I did not let go of the boogie board at the very last second because of this woman's voice. And she said, hold on, help is coming. Just hold on. That's all she said to me. And I just remember hearing that voice. Don't let go. Whatever you do, do not let go. Hold on. Help is coming. So I held onto the boogie board a little bit longer, still drowning. And then out of nowhere, my godfather busted through the waves and grabbed me and threw me over his shoulder and saved my life. And he happened to be an ex-Marine, and he was the only one that ever had training that could swim through that and get to me and save me. No one else was strong enough, and it was like yellow flags turning to red flags, so no one was allowed in the water after that. It was like a really bad current day, or the riptide current. Like, it was really bad, and he was the only one that could get to me. And if you guys truly believe in spirituality, this is the bow tie to this everything. When I was sitting on the shore and, just almost drowned, like horrible feeling, I hear my godfather talking to the other adults, and he said, thank goodness for my godmother for encouraging him to come, because he was just going to sleep at the we rented like these, like, what is it called, condos or whatever on the beach,
like a cabana or something.
So what happened was we were all up in Ohio, so we drove down to Florida. So he drove his family, and my dad drove us.
Wow.
And so the men were going to be sleeping, and the women just brought the kids to the beach. But it was day one that we got to the beach. But my godfather last minute came to the beach because he said he heard a woman's voice tell him he needs to go. And
wow.
And the thing is, I remember, like I said, I was sitting there on shore just almost dying. So all I heard was my godmother never once told him to come to the beach.
Wow.
So who was that woman's voice that told my godfather to get up and go last second to the beach with the women? I always thought as a kid in that hazed moment, he heard the same woman. He heard that woman's voice that told me to hold on. I think my godfather heard the same lady, and he's the only one that could save me. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that was the moment in time that the first taste of death. I want you guys to read that in my book and experience that with me. And the burning in my legs as I was drowning, I feel like that was all foreshadowing for CRPS and where the home base is throughout my feet and legs. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that was God
Mm-hmm.
foreshadowing what was about to happen to me.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right. You're right. I agree with that. It's a lot of things that happen and that happens in life, and you look back, you're like, whoa, it actually told what was going to happen.
Yeah. And
100%.
that's the I don't know whose voice that was. I don't know. Like, I don't, but also I feel like I could know
Mm-hmm.
possibly but I feel like whatever that spirituality is, whatever that moment happened, it was for a reason. I was
Mm-hmm.
supposed to survive that day in the ocean. And just as her voice came to me when I was in that wheelchair, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like these moments have happened so I can be here to tell this story.
Very true. No, you're right.
She's
No.
I just want to add something to us. For those that you don't follow her, like Leah was saying, how on her Instagram, just go to her Instagram and check her out. What she's dealing with, she's videoing her about to get out the car to go to the gym, and she's just puking. And after she gets through, she says, "Okay, time to work out." Then she goes
Yeah.
in there and she's on the treadmill and stuff. And then take a look at her videos, like the spot she did with Willie Mack, the spot where she gets power bombed through by Willie Mack, and then she gets thrown through a table. You realize she's dealing with a disease that could literally kill her, but for the love of wrestling, she ain't gonna let that stop her from doing what she want to do. And I'm reading on some of the who was that? Somebody said you're my inspiration. They was also telling me making up too much noise, which I apologize for. But he was saying how you inspire me, all that kind of stuff. That was the reason I had to reach out to her when I saw them clickbaiting her, because that's my little sis in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I love all my bros and my sis. I love my wrestling family. But I don't want to see nothing, no harm come to nobody, and that bothered me what I saw. But at the same time, it was something that drew people in to watch the interview and listen, and then to see what she has been going through for 9 years, and to see what she's doing now.
Mm-hmm.
Man, after what I've been through, she's still an inspiration to me with that. I'm not putting no front on it. She's a huge inspiration to me. And my duct tape and bubblegum heart ass is back in the wrestling ring sometimes as well. So I just, yeah,
You're an inspiration
Jessica's,
there.
hold on, I'm sorry.
No, it's
Out here in
okay.
the country, Jessica said, Bear, seeing you and Dahlia both make a comeback is for hearts, because,
Yes, there. You inspire people. You have
you
such a
know,
great story yourself.
I
Yes.
just wanted to point that out. I had to make that point because, man,
Well, I mean,
Wow.
I'm always going to be tell the truth. I'm always going to tell the truth because there's no point of any BS. I've experienced death and I've had so much wrong in my life, so much darkness that there's only but happiness in the truth. And I'm ready to explore, experience. So now that I'm getting on these platforms, I'm still Paige. I'm still always going to, hey, I was the girl in the wheelchair that was deprived of life, and now I'm riding roller coasters. I got to ride a roller coaster with my condition,
Mm-hmm.
and that was wild. And I wanted to go to the ocean, and I got to go to the ocean. And I'll
Mm-hmm.
always share these real details with you because I am human.
right.
Right, and you should, because society today wants to hear a nice cushy story, and the reality is that's not life, right?
Life's
So
ugly and
yeah.
dark, and I want to give people hope during these dark days because some people feel like they're alone, and I don't want people to feel alone because I felt alone for far too
Mm-hmm.
long. I was scared and alone, and life was so dark. but I survived, and now I get to play. And I want people to have that spark and have that hope. For example, one of my CRPS sisters, she's exactly where I was in that wheelchair, but
Mhm.
she's now, I'm not politically correct. How do I say it? I don't want to say deteriorating, but she's surpassed me now. Like when I was on bed rest, like she's on bed rest now, but she's not, they put a feeding tube in her. Like she's,
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
yeah, like it's like literally breaking my heart. Like I don't know how to politically correct say this. I'm just mad.
Yeah.
So, but she was a dancer. And ah, and she's like, I'm not saying she's given up or anything, and because she's gonna see this stuff, so I gotta be careful with how I say this. But I'm like so wrong to be a beacon of hope because I don't know how to lead the charge. But I want her to dance again so badly, and so like I feel like if I can wrestle again, then she can dance again. So she gets to see this, and I hope that whatever I'm doing, I can figure it out and give it to her so she can dance. And I genuinely mean that. It just breaks my heart so badly.
At least when she looks at you, she can see like what you've overcame because everything, a lot of things, not everything, but a lot of things are more mental sometimes than physical. And
Yeah, oh,
sometimes
for
when your
sure.
mind can catch up, your mind is there, your body can catch up.
She's, like I said before, if I had known when I was in the wheelchair, but then again, people, everyone's valid with where they're at, how their body's responding, how their mental health is responding. Everything's valid and very real.
Mhm.
But I don't want people to. I'm not saying this is what they are doing. I don't know how to word it, but they're not. I don't want people to quit.
Right.
Don't die.
Yeah.
Fight. And I'm not saying they're giving up. And I'm not saying they're not fighting because they're so brave and they're so strong.
Mhm.
So I don't know how to word this, but I want her to dance again more than I want to wrestle. And I don't know how else to say that. Well, I mean,
Wow.
I'm I'm always going to be tell the truth. I'm always
Mhm.
going to tell the truth because there's no point of any BS. I've experienced death and I've had so much wrong in my life, so much darkness that there's only but happiness in the truth. And I'm ready to explore, experience. So now that I'm getting on these platforms, I'm still Paige. I'm still always going to, hey, I was the girl in the wheelchair that was deprived of life, and now I'm riding roller coasters. I got to ride a roller coaster with my condition, and
Mhm.
that was wild. And I wanted to go to the ocean, and I got to go to the ocean. And I'll
Mhm.
always share these real details with you because I am human.
Right.
Right, and you should because society today wants to hear a nice cushy story. And the reality is that's not life, right?
Life's
So,
ugly and
yeah.
dark, and I want to give people hope during these dark days because some people feel like they're alone, and I don't want people to feel alone because I felt alone for far too
Mhm.
long. I was scared and alone, and life was so dark, but I survived, and now I get to play. And I want people to have that spark and have that hope. For example, one of my CRPS sisters, she's exactly where I was in that wheelchair, but
Mhm.
she's now, I'm not politically correct. How do I say it? I don't want to say deteriorating, but she's surpassed me now. Like when I was on bed
Okay.
rest, like she's on bed rest now, but she's not, they put a feeding tube in her. Like she's,
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
yeah, like it's like literally breaking my heart. Like I don't know how to politically correct say this. I'm just mad.
Yeah.
So, but she was a dancer. And ah, and she's like, I'm not saying she's given up or anything, and because she's gonna see this stuff, so I gotta be careful with how I say this. But I'm like so wrong to be a beacon of hope because I don't know how to lead the charge. But I want her to dance again so badly. And so, like, I feel like if I can wrestle again, then she can dance again. So she gets to see this. And I hope that whatever I'm doing, I can figure it out and give it to her so she can dance. And I genuinely mean that. It just breaks my heart so badly.
At least when she looks at you, she can see like what you've overcame because everything, a lot of things, not everything, but a lot of things are more mental sometimes than physical. And
Yeah, oh,
sometimes
for
when your
sure.
mind can catch up, your mind is there, your body can catch up.
She's, like I said before, if I had known when I was in the wheelchair, but then again, people, everyone's valid with where they're at, how their body's responding, how their mental health is responding. Everything's valid and very real.
Mhm.
But I don't want people to. I'm not saying this is what they are doing. I don't know how to word it, but they're not. I don't want people to quit.
Right.
Don't die.
Yeah.
Fight. And I'm not saying they're giving up. And I'm not saying they're not fighting because they're so brave and they're so strong.
Mhm.
So I don't know how to word this, but I want her to dance again more than I want to wrestle. And I don't know how else to say that.
No, no, I understand. Okay. Need a minute? It's okay.
And I don't even know her. I've had like a couple conversations with her. She's just one of my CRPS sisters, and I want her to dance again.
You don't have to know somebody to have compassion. I can see you're a very kind woman, you know. It's just that your kindness is what's drawing people in. Your light is what's drawing people in because you have a light about you, you know.
Well, there's a code in wrestling that you can't be kind. There's if you're too kind for wrestling, then you don't belong. Well, that's the old school way, anyway.
But
We
it's
see it
it's
a
always.
lot, though.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
So we see the kindness a lot,
Yeah,
the
it's not
actual
bad to have that kind heart, and
no.
the fact that she felt drawn to you to even share that story shows that you are, in my opinion, on the right path, and you are doing the right thing, and you are in literally God's will.
Yeah,
You know.
it's all about. I do believe God has this. Everyone has a fate and destiny, and I do believe God always has a plan for us. And
Mhm.
I feel like it where I didn't. Like I always felt like I was I was told that God punished me and put me in a wheelchair. And I was even mocked by some of the, wrestling community, the indies, that I wasn't cut out for this business. So I was ridiculed when I first was there. But besides people being cruel and saying that God put me in it,
Mhm.
I I got in my own head and I felt like, well, if I had become a nun, if I gave my body to God instead of the ring, then maybe this would never have happened. But then that voice,
Mhm.
it was more of hold on, you know. It
Mhm.
was don't let go. It's always that echo of what I was told in the ocean, and perhaps this was God's plan all along and not in a cruel way, but because I could endure and I could survive. And perhaps God, instead of just being a wrestler, I was meant to be this wrestler, this advocate.
Mhm.
And it was perhaps what he wanted from me instead of what I
Mhm.
wanted, if that
But
makes
he
sense.
he does use people to show his mercy to other people, you know, because you coming from that situation and out of the wheelchair, that was nothing but God's grace and mercy.
There's no other reason. Like people say, "Oh wow, like that's incredible," or "How you had no medicine, you had no guidance," and it had to have been God. There's no other explanation.
Mhm. And I think that you saying like, "Hey, I maybe should have been a nun." Maybe it was the best thing that you didn't, because you can find God anywhere. People may say like, I'm Christian, but I'm not like, "Oh my gosh, you have to go to church every day." I have like a whole thing on that. But you you can find God literally anywhere. So you just so happen to re-find him in wrestling, and wrestling is what drew you closer to him.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know?
I felt like I was supposed to give my body to God, and instead I gave it to the wrestling ring. And but maybe this was God's plan.
Right.
He needed me to do more
Yeah.
than to because I just wanted. This sounds so corny. This sounds so corny, but I just wanted to do like missionary work or whatever.
You're doing
I
missionary work now, though. You may not realize it. People think missionary work is, oh, I have to stay stationed in the church, or I have to just live in the church building. That's not it. You're literally doing missionary work right now when you're speaking to people
You're the
about
first person
Christ,
to
your
ever tell me
story.
this. You're the first person to ever tell me this analogy, but I thank you for
That's
that.
real
Oh,
spit. That's
no.
real spit.
No, it's
I
true.
I literally I felt like I was being selfish by choosing to be a wrestler instead. So I always felt like I chose wrong in a sense. So
No, it's just that, Jesus sends people on different missions. And you may think, oh, I'm supposed to do this. You had the idea, I want to give my body to God, right? But you still gave your body to God through wrestling.
I do, yeah, and the wrestling did do this to me. So in a sense, I do put the glory towards God for me surviving this. So in the end, it is all His will. It is all His
Yeah.
work.
So you are perfectly on track regardless of everything. You're still doing missionary work.
Very human, very
Yeah.
flawed, and if I can make a difference in people's lives, then that's so cool. That's so
You are. You're
cool.
inspiring me. Because
Yeah.
when I seen it, I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how she does it.
No,
I don't even
gosh.
know how you do it, because I know when some days I can't even get out the bed. I'm just like, oh gosh, I can't.
You're
Everything's
valid
hurt.
on those
It's
days. You're
horrible.
valid. You're valid on the days you can, and then you're valid on the days you can't. Your sickness, it is true. It is real. It is not just in your head. But also, how cool is it when you do get to get out of bed and do get to go and
Yeah,
explore?
you feel accomplished.
Let that be your motivation, baby. You know, I want to die every single day. Don't think I don't. I am very much sick. But in 3 weeks, I get a film with JCW, and
That's
I get
exciting.
TV tapings, and I get to explore and play, and behind the scenes, I might get to go and do karaoke, with some of
You
the
see? You
wrestlers. I
see?
don't know. I get to live, and
Hmm.
how cool is that? So that's what I'm gonna focus on.
You have to. And also, I want to tell you this. It's actually right here. It's a Bible verse that I have above my bed. It
Oh
says, "The
shit!
joy of the Lord is my strength." So every time you just think about what you've gone through and that joy, just like, I'm so happy, that's God giving you his joy and peace to make you go
Oh
to
my
another day.
God, stop!
Yeah, no,
Because I
really.
asked God to, oh no, but like that's so pretty because like I felt so empty here for so long and I was like, God, you've taken so much. You've taken so much. And I'm like, but you've left me so empty. And I was like, can you just fill me with love? And I was like, please fill me with love. And I think I am the love.